Hey, what's going on? I learned to fade music, but then I forgot how to uh, put my mic on apparently. So, good morning, good Saturday morning. It's April 15th, tax day. I think you have till Monday then, right? I didn't file my taxes. Not that I'm not going to pay them. I just got an extension because I got going late. And I did it last year and it wasn't really much of a penalty. I probably am being stupid doing that, but luckily this year I don't think I owe a whole lot. I don't think I'm getting much back. So it's probably not going to make a whole lot of difference. I'm going to change something real quick if I can, because I get this glare in my glasses if I don't uh, change the screen to night settings. And I put it on night settings and then it doesn't stay there. So it's kind of frustrating. Even though I say I want it on all the time, it doesn't ever stay on. So you'll see. Here we go. Oh, there goes. I think the blue light goes away. So, all right. Supposed to be bad for you anyway. So, hey, it's been an interesting couple of weeks. I was on vacation, as you guys know. Uh, I didn't miss the spaces. I didn't miss the spaces. I had a um, spring break, and I did a very short one in there. So I'm not sure if people are seeing. Yeah, okay, we're live. I thought I was missing something. My Twitch fan is here. Who is that? Sylvan or something like that? I forget who it is. My one Twitch subscriber. So, uh, so yeah, I got a lot to cover today. Litecoin Lisa is going to come in, and I've, my vacation. We did this. We kind of did a historic tour, I guess, of America. My daughters are 14 and 9, and they had spring break. Obviously, at the same time, they go to the same school district, and we're going to go to Williamsburg down in Virginia, which is like, if you haven't been there, it's kind of set that the town operates like it's still early to mid 1700s. So it's really interesting. Like, even they have carpenters that work. There's any building that gets built, the carpenters in town build that building, and they do it using the style of carpentry they used back then. So they weren't using nails for anything structurally. And so I'd always been kind of interested. My parents had been there, so it was really cool. So we thought it'd be fun, and we did DC while we were in that area, and even did Gettysburg. So we had this, like, we did some Jamestown is down there, so it was like this historic tour of from 1605 to, I guess, today, DC, current DC government and all that. So it was pretty interesting. It was neat to see. Like, I didn't even think about how many tribes. That was the one thing. I went to Jamestown. They talked about all the tribes that were there before Europeans came here. And it's so funny. You just learn the world in such a different way when you're taught in school. The whole idea of, well, we just came to America, and there's no real mention of what was going on here. Or we talk a little bit about the troubles, but just how widely populated the country was from coast to coast. And we don't learn a lot about that. It just is kind of, it's part of history, but it's not, when you think about it in the grand scheme of things. It's probably some amazing history from that time of year, or that time of the before we got here. We, as in the Europeans. I say we. Now, see, I'm identifying in some way. I don't know there, but all right. So yeah, and then even like DC, it was fun. It was cool for the kids to see. The monuments are amazing. Some of the museums and tours are a little boring, but it was fun. All right, so while I was on vacation, I was thinking a lot about what I want to do with this uh, account, and I even put out a poll the other day. I'm going to pull it up here. I'm going to pull it up. No, no, okay. Let's share the screen. I don't know who's watching me, right? If you're watching, comment. I'm kind of let's see. I'm going to go here onto my old Twitter, and where am I? Oh, I was like, where are my bookmarks? So I put this poll out. Hey, I'm at a crossroads with this account. I think I have a few options. Make that a little bigger. Yeah. Because I really started thinking about, I've been thinking about this. How do I grow this audience? To me, it's important that we're not just focused on only Litecoin. I think that's great, and I think it's fun to have a place to communicate, particularly on the Wednesday Twitter Spaces. But the reality is, our hope is to grow Litecoin. At least that's my hope. Not only, look, I have a vested interest in it, but I also think it's a really important tool. So to get out and engage with people that are outside of Litecoin is how you grow the Litecoin community. If you just focus on only Litecoiners and talking to Litecoiners, that's a good way of shrinking the community slowly. And I'm actually going to talk about that a little bit later. But so I put this out there, and I understand for the most part, 90% of who I speak to on a regular basis are Litecoiners, or maybe a little less than that, but a good percentage of you. And I said, do you want me to rebrand and become something like, my thought was, it's just hypothetically like Crypto Underground or something more generic that kind of brings more communities in this, or feel less like I'm not pushing them off. I'm not trying to gatekeep it all. And I actually have my board behind here. I know I'm blurred out, but we talk about obviously Litecoin. We talk about Dogecoin. We talk about Monero and Dash and Rune, Thorchain, and we talk about, I've got people I've spoken to, a lot of Digibyte people come in, Zcash, Bcash, all these different communities. I feel like we're all kind of in a similar boat. Some of these things where we're all focused on, hey, how do we develop tools and what's useful? And I just feel like if somebody wants to use another asset, I don't have a whole lot of ego tied up that I'm not going to stop them from doing what they want to do. But I think having a bigger kind of network would help. My account, but the reason for that is because a bigger account allows me to reach more people, which opens up some doors to maybe again continue to grow. So that was really what my thought process was. You guys ultimately voted you want me to stay Litecoin and go onto more platforms, and I agree with that. I'm going to stay Litecoin, and I don't think I'm going to change that. I don't really think I need to. And maybe that was a second guessing of myself, that Bitcoin has this name. And it's funny to me how many people are Bitcoin Ben or Bitcoin Carl or Bitcoin whatever, and they don't even really talk about Bitcoin that much. It's just more of a marketing thing. But I'm going to stay where I am. I am going to try to push more activity. I don't think I'm going to necessarily expand my platforms. I'm going to do more podcasts. That's something that's been almost a year since I've done a podcast. Try to stick to these. These might be a little less common. I actually had jotted out kind of what I'm going to use these for is going to be more, I got it written up here, more like demonstrations and some live interviews. I really want to demonstrate tools. This week in Spaces, we talked about the Decred exchange, the decentralized exchange on Decred. And I don't know how to use it, right? I went to log onto it and I wasn't sure if I needed a deposit or what. And if somebody from the Decred community wanted to come in and show me how it worked, great. Let's use this time, this hour or two, to do that. So that was kind of what I hope to use these for. We'll see how it goes. I'm not really sure. Some people said quit completely. I appreciate that. Almost, the fact that wasn't even like a distant fourth, I guess, kind of bothers me. But somebody said change nothing. So overall, staying Litecoin was 64.5%, those two combined. And I actually got a lot of people. I was surprised when people voted. I do polls sometimes, and so I guess appreciate the engagement. Yeah, see, deleting it is always an option. Thank you, Inevitably Based. That was very, wow, super witty. So I thought that was interesting. And yeah, I'm going to be doing more stuff. I want to do more podcasts. I'm going to do more audio interviews. I think one of the things that I was trying to do too much of was say, hey, let's do an interview, and hey, when are you available? We'll put it on YouTube. And some people get a little shy about putting their face out there. And I also think podcasts, video is nice if you can get it, but the reality is most people just listen to podcasts. Maybe if and when things get big and I can actually afford a nice camera and some sort of studio or something, then I would do more video. But I'm a long ways from that, and that may never happen. So yeah, I'm trying to really push out. If you want to be interviewed, like if you are I don't know, an insert here coiner, or you've got a platform or a business, a wallet, website, a store, a decentralized exchange. I'm curious about this stuff. I'm interested in NFTs. I'm not bought into them yet, as you may have noticed if you were in the show on Wednesday. But they're here and they're a big part of this. So I'm not trying to. I don't want to exclude people. You saw I had that. I forget her name now, from a few weeks ago. I'm being a jerk. The crypto sluts girl. I forget what her name is. Dang it. Sorry about that. Okay, so what else do I want to talk about? Oh yeah, I'm gonna try to do some shorts on YouTube. Do more like kind of basics of Litecoin. I'm looking at my sheet over here. Interviews on podcasts. And I'm gonna start doing some more like kind of big ideas. I kind of want to write a little more and then take that writing and do maybe a 10-minute video here, maybe a longer kind of podcast. That's aspirational. I don't have a lot of writing experience, but I think it would be helpful for me and hopefully present you guys with better information. This week I started thinking about tribalism, and there was a particular, this whole fight, I guess you want to call it, going on in Bitcoin with, I'm trying to see if I saved a tweet for it. Yeah, I guess, yes. So Bitcoin's very tribal, as we know. It's been interesting to watch. And what I was thinking about is kind of the inevitable doom of tribalism. So you have things like, who was it? Who's the guy? Come on. Safedine, right? He wrote the Bitcoin Standard this week. Eric Wall was on the Peter McCormick podcast and kind of debunked some of his things. And a couple Litecoiners noticed that Safedine had blocked them. And then another guy's like, yeah, he blocked me too. I've never talked to him. Yeah, he blocked me. There were like maybe 3 or 4 of them that have been blocked. I haven't engaged with the guy very much, but it was interesting to me that people block people outside of their echo chamber, almost not wanting them to engage or maybe bring some information to their users, which that's an interesting thing. I have not blocked anyone yet, or at least I don't think. Maybe I have blocked somebody. I've muted people, but I've always kind of wanted to be this like free speech guy, right? That's my thing. I can't really say I'm free speech if I don't. I don't even know how to look that up, who I've blocked. But yeah, I mean that to me is a more important quality. But what was interesting to me is I thought, okay, these people are getting very insulated. You have fans of Corey Swan or the maximalists, and they're going to get more and more isolated in an echo chamber if they don't communicate with people outside of their circle. The other thing that came up is Bitcoin Magazine, I think, is selling an NFT. Let me find this. And a bunch of Bitcoiners are now like boycotting the Bitcoin Magazine, whatchamacallit, conference down in Miami. Let me see if I can find it. But it's interesting, this rift is kind of forming inside of Bitcoin with the ordinals. And it got me thinking about like tribalism ultimately leads to this. Like essentially what you start doing is if you decide that like there's this purity test that needs to be passed in order to be a part of my community, whatever it is. There are always levels to things, right? There are trade-offs. And so there's people that might say, yeah, I'm all Bitcoin. I love Bitcoin. It's the greatest asset in the world. And I use Lightning Network. And maybe they use a custodial wallet. And you'll have some people in the community that go, yeah, well, I do that too. That's fine. But a smaller subsection of the community is going to say, well, I don't even use custodial, which this is going on right now, right? And I don't want to say reject these people, but like say things like, well, if you're not using a non-custodial wallet, it defeats the entire purpose of Bitcoin. So now we've shrunk that you can't use custodial wallets, only non-custodial wallets. It's like, and if you've ever shopped on Coinbase, you're not a real Bitcoiner. Now, if you've ever bought an inscription or an NFT, you're not a real Bitcoiner. In this this hole gets smaller and smaller, and you end up really isolating yourself, and I think closing yourself off. So I was like, okay, I had this concept in my mind. I was like, I'm going to sit down and write about this. And this ties into with something else I've become really fascinated with lately, and that is AI. So I went on to Chat GPT. Let me see. I want to try to pull this up if possible. And I was like, here. I said, explain how tribalism leads to the inevitable destruction of a community. And it was like I would have had to spend a good 30 to 60 minutes to create what it created in like 2 or 3 minutes. Now, I'm not going to steal what it wrote. Let me pull this up. I got to. Please hold. I feel like I should have a music or something. Where the hell is it? Here we go. So it spits out this 7-part, or I guess only 5-part kind of breakdown of the topics. The main reasons: division and conflict. Tribalism tends to create an us versus them mentality. Kind of what we see, right? Lack of inclusivity and diversity can result in exclusion of groups that do not belong to the dominant tribe. Same thing, just said, right? If it's just a fringe, you start getting pushed out. I'm just mad because AI can just sum this up so well without any. I mean, I love it, but it makes me crazy that this thing can do this. And it doesn't feel like it requires any effort. Narrow-mindedness and confirmation bias. This is another thing I thought about, right? They get more and more focused on fewer things, right? So it's got to be non-custodial Litecoin only. I don't touch any other crypto assets, that type of thing. As a result, decision-making within the community may be based on emotions, biases, and misinformation rather than facts, reason, and evidence. I mean, this is like, it's perfect, right? Stagnation and lack of innovation. It can create insularity and resistance to change or innovation. Exactly what we're seeing inside of Bitcoin, where people are saying, like, they'll never go to a larger block. I'm not saying they should, but they should at least be open to the idea. They should be considering the trade-offs. And that's what it is. People have trade-offs. So some people are willing to say, well, it could be a little bit bigger, and then they're ostracized, and then someone might say, yeah, let's read either the block says, or yeah, maybe custodial isn't all that bad. Then they're ostracized. And then someone says, well, maybe the government should buy some Bitcoin, or like right now, we've got a group of Bitcoiners who are kind of up for a hash war of some sort between governments. There's kind of like this statist versus non-statist thing. And then loss of common purpose and values. And I think that's more like you'll do some things that you wouldn't normally do to defend your tribe. And I think what's been another really interesting thing about this, I can't believe I talk about maximalism so much, but they're fascinating to me, is that they also create new, unique identifiers that didn't exist when this thing first started, right? So like if like it's been like the carnivore thing is part of it. It's starting to like leak into like be a more pure Bitcoiner. The seed oil stuff, like it just becomes very interesting when these ideas have to spill outside of your normal, I guess, everyday life. Now let's see here. Return of Nanjing. Tribalism is one thing. The expression of what something truly is and exposing others that aren't is another. Okay, meaning crypto and what it actually is by definition. Many of us disagree. Yeah, I can say disagreeing. Like to me, I'm okay with the idea. Like here's where I think I'm having trouble with this is that if you choose to not be the coin that I'm a part of or the community that I'm a part of, then there's something, I guess there's something wrong with that. on a fundamental level. Like I believe that to be either immoral, or you're unjust, or you're a scam artist, or you're a cheater. Like immediately, if someone chooses to buy ETH and do NFTs, like how can I jump to any conclusions about that person? You know what I'm saying? So that's where I think it's like the holier than thou thing, that there's some sort of religion to this and some sort of ethos that is what we should aspire to live by beyond just using these tools. Like you should be able to use these tools however you want. I don't worry about how someone uses a hammer. Like I don't say that you aren't a real hammer user if you don't grip it in a certain way, or it's like, or know which one is for roofing and which one's for siding, and what the names of all of them are. And so I think it's I just view these things as tools. Money is a tool, and I understand changing the money and fixing the money is an incredibly world altering thing, but that doesn't change the fact that it's a tool, and using tool A versus tool B is going to have trade-offs. Tool A could be the US dollar, tool B is Bitcoin, tool C is Litecoin, tool D is Ethereum. You're free to pick whatever one you want to do whatever it is you want to do, and it's on you to figure that out. So I would rather that be the mentality, because if to tell people right and wrong, or to assign some sort of negative moral to these people just because they're choosing something different, that's just very strange to me. There are scam artists, so we should all be aware of that. I think that's fair too. But okay, what was the other thing I was talking? So I'm going to try. I actually started writing something about tribalism. I'm hopeful that I can be a writer. I'm really not. I never liked writing, but I got a lot of crazy ideas, and I think putting them down on paper might be kind of fun. So here's another crazy idea I had this week. Let me see where I'm at here. Oh wait, no, hang on. You guys like, me, my amazing charts. Everybody loves my trading charts. There's 3 people in here. Have you ever seen my charting? It's not very expert, but it's not bad. It's not bad. So Nanjing, you think Monero's the most important? Maybe to you. No, I'm glad it's there. I'm certainly glad it's there. And I think people should be. This is a good example. He loves Monero. Great. And Monero will survive because there's enough people like Nanjing to keep it alive. And so some people might prefer different trade-offs, and that's for them, right? Okay, what was I going to pull up? Oh, my gold post. Yeah, not a gold post, a gold post. I love gold. Let me find it, because I had some back and forth on this, and I wanted to explain it because I think it's a really interesting thing about gold. Can you see this? What the? That is not what I want to show you. Hang on. How's the weather been, right? I don't know if you live in the part of the country that's nice, but it has been awesome. I'm in Ohio. I went on vacation in DC and Virginia, and it was like 80s. And then I came back here, and it was 80s here, which is just wild, because there's sometimes in April we get extremely bad weather. April can be really tricky. All right. So this is Grant's Twitter hour here. Utility value of gold is essentially 0. But this does not diminish its value as sound money. It's on an epic long-term social consensus run that I wouldn't bet against. So the reason I posted this is I was Master LTC BTC posed a question. He said, if somebody asked you what is Litecoin backed by, what would you tell them? And it got me really thinking about that, because generally what people would say is like, what's the dollar backed by? Well, even today, let's go back in time. The dollar at one point was backed by gold. So what did that mean? Like, what backed by gold? But the reason that that has any statement to it is that gold had some sort of value, right? That we understood as a use case value. And it got me thinking about, like, what is the real use case of gold? Because if it doesn't have a lot of use case, what's the point in backing something with it? How much of that is use case and how much of that is this social consensus of speculation of money? So I'm going to try to make this as clean as possible. So the majority of gold's value, I've always understood, or I've always believed, and I wanted to back this up, so I'm going to give you some statistics here, was that gold is primarily a speculative asset. So let's say there's 1,000,000 tons of gold in the world. How much of that is used in computers and cars and phones and that type of stuff? I always thought it's a very, very small percentage, right? Because you get a phone for $600, it can't have very much gold in it because an ounce of gold is $2,000. So maybe you've got 1/100th of an ounce of gold, something like that. And I wanted to look some of this stuff up because I think it's important to separate the utility value of gold and the speculative value, because that's ultimately what it is, a speculative value that you believe in the future. You're speculating that in the future gold will have value to someone else. They will also see it as money, and they will pay you a certain amount of whatever the local currency is. They will do a certain amount of work for you, or they will provide some value to you for that shiny rock, right? So I wanted to look into this a little bit because it was all kind of an instinct, and I was kind of playing out like a debate in my head. This is kind of what I do, which is weird. But you have some use cases for gold. So if you went to Peter Schiff, he'd say, hey, people make jewelry out of this. It's used in cars. It's used in computers. There's amazing amounts of utility. That's what backs the value of gold, is that there's this demand for utility. And so I wanted to separate some things. I'm going to have to do this again, aren't I? I wonder if I, hang on a second, guys. Remove this. Nope. Yep. Hold on. So I got a whole bunch of stuff. I did some statisticking. You guys would be proud of me. But I didn't put it in a separate window, so it's going to take a second. Hang on. Sorry, I'm like clomping around. So I wanted to figure out how much gold exists, how much gold is mined each year, how much gold is used each year, how much gold is recycled each year, because that's a big thing gold people will tell you, is that gold is infinitely recyclable. So let's see if I can. I should have been more prepared. Here you are. Let's see. At this point, you're going against a peer-to-peer private decentralized liberty. I'm not going against a peer-to-peer private decentralized sovereign future. I don't believe that. This opinion, the one you okay, let me read these, because Return of Nanjing, this is interesting. I'll give you the floor a bit. Monero is not just for me, it's for the future of a free world. Public chains are not cryptocurrency. It's arguably the opposite. At this point, you're going against a peer-to-peer private decentralized sovereign future where people have liberty and responsibility. This can be confused as tribalism when in reality is defending the opposite happening, where there's no financial freedom and no liberty. Oh, you, the general public. Yeah, I mean, I think if you're going to sit here and say that Monero is not useful, I think that's kind of crazy. Yeah, that was the other thing. It was funny because this week I was both pro-gold and kind of anti-gold, as you're about to find out. Because I think gold is like the best quick way for people to get on board and understand the fungibility feature. Like the privacy fungibility thing it's there. Like literally, I give you a gold coin and there's no way of anybody knowing outside of like facial recognition of cameras and weighing the gold as I'm passing it along, right? So it's a very, there's limitations, right? It's a physical asset, so it can be confiscated if needed. But as far as like, gold is widely available. It's and silver, I should say, and anybody can get them pretty quickly, pretty easily. They can take possession of them. They don't need to know how to run they don't need to update a node. They don't have to download an app. They don't have to memorize keywords or any of that crap. They can just get up and get going. And I think it's a really important tool for us as crypto people to. Another thing that drives me nuts is that people are saying gold is garbage. Like, you shouldn't own gold. Like that. Look, if somebody says, look, I don't like Bitcoin or Monero or Litecoin, I don't think that I'm ready for that. But I do want to avoid this oncoming inflation. Like, hey, go buy some gold and buy physical gold, right? Use that as an opportunity to say, don't just buy paper gold. Take actual possession of the thing, so that if you're truly concerned about hyperinflation, you're holding that asset. So, and there's a lot of advantages to gold. There's a lot of tax advantages. I think in the US, see, my dad's a gold and silver guy. He has a rare coin business. He primarily buys, he doesn't do a lot of selling, but I know that I think silver eagles and gold eagles, like US minted gold coins, are tax free to a certain point, or something like you don't have to pay any capital gains on it if you're buying and trading in those. There's some sort of tax advantage to particular gold eagles and silver eagles. So there's a premium on those. I should do my homework on that. I should know that. It's my dad's business. But I want to get back into the gold part. So let me look at let's just go here. Let's go here. All right. So the first thing I wanted to figure out, I wanted to look at this very logically, like what's the math behind it? Because this is just, again, my nerd brain working. So step one is, how much gold even exists in the world, right? Oh, I see, I already messed up. I already went in the wrong order. So first of all, how much gold exists? So let's get an understanding of where this gold is being used. Where's the demand for it? Because I think the important part when you're talking to somebody says, oh, it's backed by gold, right? But if gold itself is purely a speculative asset, then what you're really saying is that gold is backed up by this mass speculation, meaning that everybody on earth agrees that this is a good form of money, and therefore they've settled on it, and I can spend and use gold. It will always be exchangeable for goods and services, not because it's truly valuable as a utility, but but it's recognized as having value. It's literally a social good. There's almost like a meme type of value to this. There's very little use for it. Where, like, if I buy an ounce of steel, right? Steel is almost exclusively used in industrial applications. It's used in places that it's needed. And so if I think a pound of steel is like $1. So if I have a pound of steel, it's reasonable for me to know that there's going to be demand for it in a place that it's absolutely needed. And so I think that gives it a lot more stability of price. It makes it less speculative. I think that would be the best way to say it. It doesn't require a social consensus. Okay, this is right. This is where I'm going. The value of steel doesn't require a social consensus to give it value, because it has utility. And this is what the gold bugs will tell you. Well, gold has utility as well, and that's why it also falls into that category. But that's actually not true. So we have 200. Wait. To tell me how much gold is above the earth? I thought I wrote this down. Yeah, 208,000 tons of gold has been mined, and it's virtually indestructible. So that means we've got I'm just using that number, above ground, 208,000 tons of gold. So I wanted to find out, what is it used for? How much of it truly is in this arena of electronics and blah, blah, blah. So you'll also hear people like Peter Schiff will tell you, Well, jewelry, right? You get make people make jewelry out of it. Well, the reality is you can make jewelry without gold. If gold never existed, it didn't exist today, there would still be a number of different ways to make jewelry with silver or platinum or tin or brass or stone or crystals or whatever, right? If we're talking about this is this decorative thing that people put on their body purely to just show off, then that isn't a use case in my opinion. Is it used for that? Yes, but it's not needed for that. So if the price of gold got insanely high for whatever reason, then people would stop using gold for jewelry. So its actual utility is a little less than that. Now, there might be the durability factor. I guess I could maybe be willing to say that there would still be a demand for gold because of its durability. In that my jewelry will never, I can pass it on generation to generation, so it's more valuable than brass that I can't. Okay, I'd be willing to have that conversation. But this will tell you this is total gold demand 4,700 tons, which by the way, there's 208,000 above ground. So right there, got about 45 years of inventory to satisfy all gold demand in the world. Not to mention, I'm going to show you it's indestructible. So all the gold today will still be around. So this stuff, this demand could just really shift between it. There's no really need to even mine new gold, which is really kind of weird when you think about it. We could just recycle it. So actually, gold mining itself is completely pointless. It's a 100% waste of electricity and energy, unlike mining. Okay, so bar and coin. Here, central banks, 1100. Jewelry's a big one, about half of it. ETFs actually drag it down. But here's technology. 309 tons are used per year to satisfy whatever technology needs we have. So what I did is I said, okay, we got 208,000 tons above ground. If I divide that by this, or take the 309, divide it, it's like 0.15% of the gold in existence is actually used in technology, meaning we've got like 675 years of inventory that exists today, not to mention it's infinitely recyclable. So there's no reason for us to even be pulling this stuff out, like I said. And what that tells me is since 99.95 or 85% of these of gold is used for something besides the technology, the conductivity, the unique chemical properties that gold has and only gold has, that tells me that it's primarily 99.8% a speculative asset, and it requires this social network to keep it going. So back to my post. My post was saying, look, I actually I want to clarify this. I'm going to read it because this guy was arguing with me about it. Oh, did I pull up a different page or something? What's going on here? Sorry, hold on. Yeah, this is the guy. Oh my God. I'm being serious right now. Lisa's going to come in the middle of this. Be like, what is happening? This guy commented, right? So my comment is it's essentially the utility value is essentially zero. I mean, we have so much supply that if the speculative value of gold went away tomorrow, then it would be massively. It would dump so hard when you have 0.2% is actually needed for technology. It would just flood the market. There'd be no reason for it, and the price would drop. Yeah, just an insane amount. Like we're talking probably down to $20 to $30 an ounce. So it's speculative value as money. It requires this, like I said, epic long-term social consensus where literally for 2,000 to 3,000 years, we have agreed as people that this is valuable and we trust that someone else is going to take that. And so Nanjing, I'm glad you said this about silver because I thought to myself, well, I wonder about silver because that definitely is something that we should be thinking about, right? And I tried to pull up the same stuff on silver. When I say I do this research, you need to understand I'm doing this at like 9:30 in the morning when I'm going to be on the air at 10. I'm a little behind, you know. But how much silver exists? This is great. This tells us, do the math, right? 550 trillion tons of silver. So you might think, well, silver is a little more of an industrial metal, right? I used to like industrial metal, like Nine Inch Nails and Lords of Acid. You guys know some of these bands back in the 90s? Industrial was pretty sweet. Um, okay, so 550 tons exist. 26,000 tons are mined. Oh, wait, back to gold real quick. One thing I missed. We mine 2,500 to 3,000 tons a year, meaning like we are already getting 8 to 10 times the industrial use. We pull that much out of the ground every single year, 10 years worth. And it can never be destroyed. That's the big thing we got to remember with this. It cannot be destroyed. So it's infinitely recyclable. We have an ungodly amount of gold pouring around here. Now, silver is a little bit different because silver actually is used quite a bit more in industrial than gold. Now, I don't know. I was trying to like put this into need. Like, how much gold do we need every year? I can't say which applications could be replaced by something else. Like maybe platinum could do the job instead of gold, but since platinum's more expensive, we don't use platinum. So there's a little bit that I wouldn't fully understand. And I also wouldn't understand some things that if gold were to drop to like $500, would it be swapped in for something else because its price had gone down enough? So it's hard for me to know. But if you look at silver, way more is used in industrial. So in here, if we just talk, I think silverware and jewelry are both kind of pointless, right? Like they would exist without, again, if silver could not be used for those things or was not used for those things, other metals could take their place. So I look at jewelry, 181, silverware, 42. That's 225. All right. 225 plus 278 for investments. So that means about 600? No, 500? 500? 500, then hedging demands are 10, barely anything. So that means the total's 1,000 and about 500 is industrial, meaning about half of silver's use is in industry. So if you wanted to back something truly, I think a silver-backed coin would actually be, or asset, silver-backed, today would actually be a better, a more stable unit of account. It would be less likely to crash due to speculation. So anyway, I haven't, Nanjing, I appreciate your comments. I did not do platinum. I don't know. You would think platinum, you're asking what is platinum? Why is it higher? Well, there's a lot less platinum in the world, if I'm not mistaken. And maybe it could be things like jewelry, like literally just because people want to show off. Maybe, I don't know. But I think platinum has a lot of use cases. And then here's how much silver is consumed each year. 1,000,000,000 ounces, which now I got, oh yeah, this is ounces, by the way, right? So same thing, I guess. 1,000,000,000 ounces, which I'm not getting to get into tons. And we have 550 tons. 550,000 tons? Jesus Christ. How much is 1,000,000,000 ounces then? Does anybody want to do some math for me? Jeez, here we go. All right, so there are 16 ounces in a pound, right? 1,000,000,000 ounces divided by 16, right? That's how many pounds we're talking. And then 2,000 pounds. Is it that simple? So that'd be 31,000, or 31,000 tons are consumed each year, and we have 550. So we got about 10, 20, 18 years, let's say. Let's do 550 divided by 320, or 31. Yeah, 18 years. About 18 years worth of silver exists, where with gold we have 673. So silver is actually, I was pleasantly surprised by this. So maybe we should all be silver bugs because there's actually a use case for it. And we can get into all that other, people shorting it and paper silver. I think that's a big part of why we haven't seen these metals go up. They're not bad uses of money. I think if you want to go out and diversify, I guess before today I would have said gold, because gold socially as this consensus is more viewed as money than silver. But the numbers tell me that silver is undervalued, or actually what that tells me is gold's overvalued for what it's used for more than anything, and silver should be a lot closer to the use case. So I think that might be the, like, if a fully free market, you would think that the percentage of speculation would be similar on both of them, meaning like, yeah, if it's 50% silver and it's 1% on gold, then maybe those two should swap a bit or get much closer. There may be, the gold might be, the jewelry thing, I guess, could be more of a human emotion, intrinsic value, intrinsic, what would be like a intangible value. Gold has an intangible thing because of its beauty and its luster that silver doesn't have, and the name gold over silver, cheap ass silver. See, this is where I just think too much, and I should write this shit down because it would make a lot more sense. All right, so Lisa's coming in like 10 minutes. I have, I'll do my charting. Like I said, you guys love my charts. Let me pull them up. I mean, I kind of mock my charts. What's been interesting is I started doing this. I swear I curse this coin sometimes, man. Ever since when I started doing Twitter Spaces, it's been nothing but number go down or sideways since. I don't like to talk about the price too much because I think there's more important things to talk about. But you know what? I know people are interested in it, so I'm not gonna deny you the joy of this. I've been sticking to the same thing. What I hate people do is trading guys. I'll say it every week. I hate that they change their metrics. Oh, we're going to look at the 1 day. Now we're going to look at the 1 month. Now we're going to look at the 30-minute. You know what? I'm sticking to 3 days. 3 days because I noticed it was kind of I thought it was a good metric at some point here. Let's go into everybody. Most people look at US dollars. That seems to be the market looks at US dollars more than anything else. So I'm sticking to 3 days. I'm looking at the Bollinger Bands, and I'm looking at RSI. So Bollinger Bands, RSI, and then I pull up like the 50-day, 100-day, and 200-day. Now these are 53-day units. So this 50-day is truly, actually looking back, the average over 150 days. But let's get into kind of recent stuff. So this one is actually, I will tell you, I think looks pretty good still. I remember doing one back in February, and we were up here. We bumped up to 100. We were in the same range we're in right now. And I looked at the chart and I said, realistically, we could see this thing dip down, I thought, into this range, 70s, because this was the 100-day or the 50-day. But what actually ended up happening is we went all the way down and touched the, hang on, I'm going to zoom in a little bit. Went all the way down and touched the 200, or the 100, I'm sorry. The 200 is still above us. So we broke past the 50, which sucked, and bounced off the 100, which is great. And we seem to be stabilizing. The 100-day, despite that dip, we've seen it start to finally turn north. Now, the 200-day, I looked back at like what prices are actually dropping off of the 200-day, and right now it's gonna start turning flat pretty soon. And I think as long as we stay in this range for another, you're gonna hate to hear this, like another month or two, it'll actually really start to shoot up because we're gonna start dropping low prices that are bringing it down. So I think we're in a good spot. We need to get above this 200 though, and bring the 50 above it and the 100 above it. So we got a long way to go in that sense. If we do see, some of these people, some of you chartists are calling for this big surge. If we see something that goes 130 to 150, that's going to really start to turn everything in the right direction. So I want to remind you, I don't think this 100 has been above the 200 for very long in our existence here. Well, maybe that was on the LTC BTC. But we've been, we dropped below here in May of 2022. So it's been almost a year, and we have not recovered since then. Yeah, I guess these got kind of played around with each other. The 50. Which one's the 100? 100's the red. Yeah, so we've bounced above it. But for the most part, if you look at it from June of 18, we had a short bounce at the last halving, but didn't really turn this trend very much. We end up kind of double bottoming here at 50 bucks. So, we got some work to do. But the 200-day is still only at $70. And a long way to go. Now, on the BTC chart, I'm seeing if Lisa's come in yet. Stay low. Jason wants it to stay low. I really don't think so. I do have some other stuff I think is interesting. There's been a lot of stuff. I didn't get into too much news, but I think since last time I was on here, Litecoin kind of got labeled a commodity of sorts or whatever. I mean, there's differing things, but I think we all know if they do end up labeling these things and they separate them out into commodities or securities, Litecoin probably should be a commodity. I think that would be a really big boost. And if that happens, I think that's going to be just massive for long-term adoption and long-term buying, not true adoption, unfortunately, but people will buy it and cause the price to go up. Its speculative value will increase. So what's funny is here, I'm going to get into this. All right. So this one doesn't look as good, right? We got up. It was looking good for a while. We turned the corner with the 200-day and the 100-day. It was the first time the 100 and the 50 were above the 200. Let me just show you this. This is the 200, this mustard one. You see, here we are. Here's the 50 and the 100. We flipped the script. We got above it. It was the first time. This is a crazy thing for me. We did it for a short time here in 17, but the 200-day or the 100-day has not been above the 200-day on the Bitcoin Litecoin chart. Can you guys see this? I don't think you can. To me, this is a crazy number. It kind of blows my mind, actually. So on this chart, the 3-day chart, here's the 200, this gold one here. And this is the 100, the red. So since November of 18, the 200 has not been above the 100. Or I'm sorry, the 100 has not been above the 200 until, so here we are. We came close. So November of 18, and we finally crossed in late February, March of 2023. So that is, what are we looking at here? 4.5 years that this descended down, and this is the first time we've seen it go over. And even the 50-day only got over the 200 for about, I don't know, maybe a month or two. Yeah, a month. Yeah, 2 months back in 19. Other than that, we haven't been over the 200. So it's been this long grind down. And this has been the first turnaround we've seen. And so I really want to make sure we want to stay above this 200. So that's been kind of the disappointing part. I thought we got down here. I was hoping we'd bounce off. We dipped below. We crept back up. And now we've gone below again. So this is kind of a big number, in my opinion. We need this price to get above this 200, reverse this trend. You can see it's still descending for the most part, I think, right there. It's hard to see. And yeah, we need to get above 0.32, essentially 0.0032. Once we get up there and we can stabilize, hopefully above the 100, maybe we start bouncing off the 100. That could be the boost, in my opinion. I think until we do that, we're going to be kind of in this purgatory, this sideways only. So, but yeah, if we strongly come up here, get back above maybe the 50, into the 04s, which it feels like it should be so simple. It could happen in a day or two. And then, we might be back off to the races again. So till then, we don't know. I got to figure out how to get out of this page. I'm just going to stop sharing. I think I just escape out, right? Okay. Oh, look at Lisa's already here. I don't want to. She's getting ready. So don't worry, Lisa. I can talk all day. So, and what I wanted to show you, the last thing I wanted to show you, I thought was really interesting, because Shannon and I were talking master in the spaces from on Wednesday, and something that jumped out at me was this. He was talking about, adoption. He's been talking about the adoption use case. It's almost like silver, right? The utility, people actually using this is really a lot stronger on Litecoin in comparison to the price. So let's look at like the log scale. I wish I would have pulled this up for both of these together. But if you look at transactions per day, that is the solid line, and the dashed line is the price. It's been pretty similar all along. He's got a lot of great charts if you're not already following Master LTC, and see how closely it followed it. And then recently, despite the drop off in price, the usage has stayed the same. So you can do the same thing looking at number of addresses per day versus price. So this one, this is going to, prices in the dashes here. Why am I doing 5? I don't want all time. Give me 3 years. Here we go. So again, despite the price fluctuations, the sent from addresses, the use is stayed steady, which tells me there's people using this on a regular basis regardless. And then active addresses is another good one, if I can find it on here. This is unique addresses. That doesn't really tell me a whole lot. Where's well, I thought I had new addresses. But anyway, the point is, despite the price, it's being used. And I think that's something that's really unique, that adoption is going up while price is going down. It might be one of the only coins that's actually going through that. I'm going to bring Lisa in. Hang on a second, Lisa. Let me get rid. Well, do you want to? I want to look at something. How are you doing, by the way? Oh, I can't hear you. Well, I'm going to move into my Litecoin show. So I want to look at this. I haven't looked at this yet. I want to do these same statistics for Bitcoin. Oh, maybe it'll just let me do it right here. Oh, perfect. So if we look at the price of Bitcoin in blue, see how closely it's resembled this.
I think I had my mic on mute. Can you hear me now?
Yep. Now I got you.
Cool.
I'm just doing a little show here for a second.
Yeah. No. I'm listening.
Well, something we were talking about in the spaces with Master. I don't usually try to get too much into the price pumping part, but it is interesting when you start thinking about how many assets grow in adoption and shrink in price. Like, it doesn't seem like that makes a lot of sense, right? It's counterintuitive, but anyway.
I think right now people are looking for a safe place to run to with the bank failures and all that. So if they do have any wealth or assets, they're looking for those safe havens. And the government took a bunch of that Silk Road Bitcoin and put it on the market right before the SVB bank thing. Yep. And I think they knew it was happening or going to happen, and they knew people would run to things like Bitcoin and Litecoin that have, that can be considered a hard asset. You can have it in your own possession. It has security. It's out of the system, all of that. And so that way they could keep the Bitcoin price down, because if the banks are failing and we had a run like we did in 2017, it'd be all over. They'd lose control.
Right. Yeah. Emotions get high and people start panicking in both directions, right?
Yes, absolutely.
That's what we've talked when we talk about. Well, I do want to, before we get into all this, because I actually want to, I find that part interesting, the hyperinflation thing. But I reached out to you because I was telling people I've kind of been back and forth on this, what I'm going to do with this channel, right? How broadly do I want to expand it? And I think, I'm a Litecoin first. I'm a Litecoin boy or whatever that one guy said.
Litecoin maxi.
Yeah,
Is
I'm
there
not a
such a thing?
maxi, but I'm a
I don't know if
Litecoin boy.
there's such a thing.
I'm starting to think maybe there are. There are a couple guys that come in. I go, they're surprisingly like, I mean, like I essentially am a Litecoin maximalist in the way I act. Like that's primarily
Mhm.
what I hold. That's primarily what I use. I don't see a lot of use case for the other assets, but I'm open to listening to people, and I think it's okay if people want to, if you want to go experiment with other things, that's up to you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, yeah, but I thought, I want to get maybe a refresher of all the Litecoiners. There's a lot of people creating content, and if somebody came into Litecoin today because, like you said, they're interested, they're just trying to learn about it, or they saw it on PayPal, they might not, they don't know necessarily who's John Kim and who's Lisa and who's Clint Westwood, and so like let's go through Carlos. So I'm
Oh
gonna try to get
man.
Johnny Litecoin, right?
Yeah.
And I haven't done anything with you guys before. I thought maybe it's a refresher, just like a quick introduction to some of these Litecoiners and who
Are we
they
going to
are.
go through like the whole cast of characters?
Hopefully, like I would
Oh,
like to.
okay.
Wouldn't it be nice to
Wow.
have like a series of like meet a Litecoiner type of thing? I don't know.
Yeah, yeah. No,
I mean,
there's
eventually,
there's a bunch of them.
I
There's
know
a
I
bunch
start. You
of
start.
wonderful people that I've met because of cryptocurrency. So I'm really grateful. The Litecoin community specifically is really different, that was. I don't want to get ahead of myself, but that was a very eye-opening thing when I was asked to speak at a Bitcoin event um,
Right.
about a year ago, and actually had my life threatened by a maxi, and because I'm Litecoin, and what am I
Right.
doing speaking at a Bitcoin event? And I had no idea. Like because I had come in through the Litecoin fam and been introduced to crypto that way, and so I had this big welcome and everybody trying to help each other and be supportive and encouraging of each other. And then you get out in the rest of the crypto world and it's not like
Yeah.
that, for sure.
I'm hopeful that will change. I think that was one of the things when I went on vacation. I was thinking about a lot was how do you break this tribalism? Like, is it inherent to
Mm,
people? And the only way to do it is really to have conversations, right? Like, it's like anything else. It's like people who have, who hate another group of people. They generally don't have any exposure to that group of
right.
people,
I've
right?
never
Like once
spoken
you
to
meet, you go, oh, well, these are just people, right? Like,
yeah.
it's just kind of a funny thing. So I know you're from Oklahoma now. Are you born and raised there, or where are you from originally?
No, I'm kind of bounced all over. I was born in Lake Havasu City, Arizona.
Really?
Um,
My
actually
my
in
aunt
a
lived there for a long
Oh, really? Yeah. Yeah, it was a little tiny town back then, way before MTV ever started
Yeah,
going
so
there.
you were born there. Okay, because yeah, they moved
Yeah.
there in like the 90s, I think.
Actually, I was born in Kingman because the town was so small, there wasn't even a hospital.
Oh,
So my
geez. All
parents
right.
had to drive to another town.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah. Yeah. So Kingman, Arizona, but Lake Havasu City, Arizona. And
Okay.
then we lived there for a while, till I was like 8. And then we moved to Houston, Texas. And that's the majority of my raising
Gotcha.
was
I was gonna
in
say you have a little accent. I was like, that doesn't,
a
you don't sound
little
like an
accent.
Arizona accent. That
No.
doesn't sound
Um,
Arizona to me.
no. So I was raised in Kingwood, Texas, outside of Houston. And then probably I don't know if it was my sophomore or my junior year of high school, my mom had remarried and we moved to Oklahoma where my stepdad had a big ranch. Um, it didn't have a house on it, so we lived close by to it. But anyway, and that was a whole nother experience. And then I became an Okie
Oh,
and
all right.
then went to college from there at
Oh,
Stillwater.
gotcha.
Go
Okay.
Pokes. Yeah.
Go. Was that Oklahoma State?
Yes,
What's the,
Oklahoma State.
okay.
Yeah,
I've never,
Cowboys.
okay. Why? Okay. Cowpokes. I
Yes,
don't know.
absolutely.
They've had some good years. Barry Sanders, that was like the man, right? Oklahoma State.
I met him. Yeah, he
Did you?
he came in, and I was working at a restaurant, and him and John Smith, the wrestler, he's an Olympic wrestler.
Okay.
He and Barry came in for dinner or something, and I didn't know who they were, and they wanted to cut in line, and I was like, no, get back in the line like everyone else. No.
Yeah, I
So,
mean, I live kind of near Detroit in Ohio, and he was when he quit, it was just devastated the entire city of Detroit.
mm,
Like the greatest player of all time just decides he doesn't want to play anymore because your team stunk. But
well,
so like, you're I know you have some kids, but are you like a full-time podcaster? I feel like you're on the air all the time.
I have a show weekdays at 5 to 6 p.m. Eastern. So yeah, I do a show, and then I'm also on another show with some really great people, World Blockchain Roundtable on Thursday mornings.
Okay.
So I
I
pop
didn't
into
know that.
that. Yeah, and those guys are really brilliant. There are a lot of coders and developers and good
What's it called?
stuff.
World Blockchain Roundtable?
It's through Dragon Chain on the Dragon Chain channel.
Oh yeah, that guy reached out to me, or somebody wanted me. I think it was Kyle,
Mm.
84 million. He was like, "You should talk to the Dragon Chain people,"
Oh yeah, yeah.
and I went back and forth with him, but I guess at some point in time we just stopped communicating. I maybe should try. I don't know much about it, but I
Are you
know.
looking for? So they have something called, one of the products that they built is Den Social, where it's like a turnkey DAO, but it feels
Okay,
like you're on Facebook or something. You don't have to know how to like use crypto and do all the signing and all that kind of voting and stuff. It just feels like you're on Facebook. You have a layer, um, because Dragon Chain, dragons, layers, get it?
oh,
And
I was thinking you were saying Layer,
I know
layer.
my accent. I can't say layer
Oh,
or
they sound the same, layer and layer, right?
yeah, layer and layer, but yeah, I try. Um, yeah,
Okay,
so yeah,
wait, yeah,
check
because that was something I want to do with the live streams more is demonstrate things. Like I'm interested to learn about them. I don't
Mhm.
necessarily view them as endorsements, but um, one of the things that I think is going to happen is DeFi of some sort, right? You're going to have to ways to meet and trade and exchange outside of any approved channels because we're seeing that we're not exactly getting the approval that
Right.
we would hope, which isn't a surprise. I don't think to anybody who's been in crypto for any extended period of time. It's like they're not going to make this easy. Uh,
Well, thankfully, Reggie Middleton has the patents for that, um, through Veritasium. So that's taken care of. It just has to be built the right way and not be attacked by the United States government.
right.
um, you know, and that's part of the problem right now. I've been seeing some news and doing some research for the channel and talking about the law that Bukele just passed with about all the innovation tech support, or
Hmm.
innovation for technology in El Salvador, like
Okay.
no property taxes, no capital gains, no income tax for 15 years. They have like the volcano bonds, and they have like grants for small businesses starting there. I mean, just really amazing stuff, bringing innovation to El Salvador. And they've cleaned up a lot of there's like the homicides down to very minimal now because they locked up all of the MS, is it MS-13?
And
I
it's
don't know.
13. Yeah.
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 And got rid of they even got rid of their tombstones of their like older members,
Members.
so they
Yeah. I
wouldn't have any
remember
kind
hearing
of a
about that.
martyr thing or anything. Yeah. So they're really changing El Salvador and making it a place for innovation and technology. And that's when those kind of things are going on, and the reverse is happening in America, that anybody that's um, a market disruptor from, the big six comes in, and there's a video of Gary Gensler when he was a teacher at MIT telling the students, now, if you come up with something and you want to make it, you can either give away 30 to 50% of your company or create a token or something to give away to these markets. Basically, like, you're not going to make it unless you pay the big guys
Right.
off. And that's not
The
the
big guy,
American dream.
was that a slip? Did you slip the big guy in there?
Yeah, maybe. He always gets his cut, doesn't he?
Yeah, he does.
10%, I heard. Yeah, I just, it's when they're stifling innovation and, basically like swatting great ideas, we're going to have intelligence, a brain suck out of this country. And
Yeah.
that's got to change. So we, the
Yeah,
people, need to
I
change
would
it.
completely agree. It's like it was funny. I was telling earlier about we went on vacation. We went to a bunch of historical sites, and we were in Williamsburg, and it was like 1700s. And if you read a little bit and understand history of even pre America, there's always these schemes to maintain control, right, and to like gatekeep the wealth that exists or the status quo. So the people who
Right.
have won at the game are going to try to put tools in to prevent other people from getting to be part of the team, right? Part of the winners.
Accredited investor.
Yeah,
you
exactly.
know
So
they
yeah,
have
yeah. It's like
invented.
you can't, yeah, you're not allowed to go buy stock by yourself. Like that's ridiculous.
Right.
You can't be trusted for that type of stuff. So there's
Mhm.
always some sort of intermediary, and I think that it's just interesting that's gone on. It's taken different forms, but it always exists. Actually, John Easy in the comments just said Prime Trust Bank dropped Connecticut support, so the state of Connecticut can't use tools that are backed by Prime Trust. Interesting.
Wow.
Yeah, the innovation thing I think is interesting. So, but more than anything, you're here to talk about. You have a fundraiser, right?
I do. When I first started my channel, and when at one of I think it was the first, no, it's not the very first Litecoin Summit. It was the second one. But it was the first one I attended. I met Crypto Mame, Michelle Mafra, and she just is a bright, wonderful lady. She's from Brazil. She lives in America now. She has a little girl, and we got to be friends, and she started coming on my show, and we would do a Monday and kind of talk about all the crypto news, because
Were you
a
guys
lot of
like crypto
crypto.
moms or something like that?
Yeah, I
That
was
was
like Mom at Monday. Yeah. And we would talk about, because she was Crypto Mame, which is in Portuguese. That's how they say mommy. Um,
yeah.
and so we'd do our little mom show and talk about crypto and our kids and whatever, and the news. And then she would translate it and do it in Portuguese and Spanish. And then she started working for a magazine in Spanish and translating the crypto news. So she'd take the news that we did and translate it. And then I don't know, it took off. It was really great. And but more recently, she was diagnosed with cancer, and so she just had a brain tumor removed, and she's currently having treatment on her lungs. And so she's applied for disability, but she's in that period of time in between. And so every year we do a Team Mighty event, which is how we honor my daughter that passed away when she was 7. We honor her birthday every year and think of her life. And we try to
What's up?
just bless somebody that in the community, or find a charity or nonprofit that we can give the money to. And so this year, we're going to make sure all those funds go to Crypto Mame. So we're going to have an event in Oklahoma City on the 21st and 22nd, which is next Friday and Saturday. And a lot of the crypto crew will be here. I've got Bix Weir coming in with his wife, Amy, and their daughter, Paige, who her and her boyfriend just started a channel called the Pebbleton Post.
Okay.
And Bix Weir's like the godfather of our family from crypto. Like, my parents were gold and silver bugs, and they were following Bix with that stuff. And then Bix started getting into cryptos. And that's how my parents got into cryptos. And then when I got married in 2017, my mom gave us Litecoin. And
Right.
that's how I became Litecoin Lisa.
Oh, there you go.
So, yeah, it was.
Yeah, you need your mom to be Litecoin Granny or something. I know she's out
She
there, right? She has
she's
a
crypto Nana for
crypto.
LTC. Yes. Yeah. Crypto Nana 4 LTC is my mom on Twitter.
Yeah, I think I said that about you before. You're the only person whose parents introduced them to crypto,
Yeah.
right?
I have a
That's so
little
backwards.
unusual story, yeah, with that for sure. She's
Yeah,
always been more of a risk taker, and sometimes that works out and sometimes it doesn't, but it sure did, for us in the crypto world. It's been a great experience, and it's been a huge education and eye opener, not just to our broken financial system, but what's been happening in the rest of the world and behind the scenes. If I didn't know now, the truth about our history and what's going
right.
on in our country, I would be so scared and concerned and confused about what's going on right now. But
It's like I think everybody goes through that with crypto. Is like you get it, and then you start to learn about it, and then you start to learn about like why is it this alternative?
why?
Like, how does
Yeah.
the current system work? Like you just start doing some homework just to compare them, and yeah, it's like it partially gives you hope, but it also opens your eyes to like the scary stuff. So you're
Yeah.
either blissfully ignorant, like today, or like you said, very scared about. Well, if you didn't know there were these other options, you would be very like, what escape is there once they go to a
Yeah.
digital dollar? What's the escape? And I think, thank God, the timing of them couldn't have been better, right? The fact that they, before we got into digital money from the government enforced
Hmm.
onto you, there's this escape route. And I think even more
There's a
so the
lifeboat.
clamping
Yeah.
down, right? I think we're seeing that how much control and influence, I guess, governments can have over technology. That
Right.
it's
They're
almost like we
threatening a
had this
lot.
window. Yeah, we had this window that was probably 1990 to maybe even today, but we're getting to the point where we're starting to lose control of these uh, systems that we had a 30-40 year window to get something like this created. And thank God, you know, Bitcoin was created, right? Or
Yeah,
else we wouldn't be
absolutely.
having these conversations.
Yeah, we would not have freedom of speech for
Are
sure.
you teammighty.org? Is that your site?
Teammighty.org is the nonprofit, yeah, and that's for Mighty Mia. And speaking of all the history stuff, Bitcoin Ben's going to be there. We're going to be, he's our champion this year for, that's me and my daughter Mia, and there's Bix from last year, and that's my dad was the warrior for last year. He passed in January,
This is Bix or
and
this is Bix?
that's Bix on the top singing.
Okay.
Bix
Gotcha.
Weir. You don't know who Bix Weir is? Road to
I
Ruta.
don't, I know you guys talk about them. You and Clint.
Oh my
I always was
gosh.
thinking there needs to be you guys are like your own faction of the Litecoin fam. You and Clint and
Yes,
Bix
my
and
buddy Clint
Blind
Westwood
Dave and
is in the chat right now, and he's my bestie. We met
yeah,
on the road, Clint Westwood
yeah.
and he came to as a charity event that Bitcoin Ben was helping me with. It was just a year after Mia had passed away. And that was when I think the one with the red dress is when I was Leukemia and Lymphoma Society Woman of the Year for
Oh,
raising money for them. But anyway, but this year I don't have it on. I should have updated this before I came on here. Anyway,
well, because
but
you'd asked. I can find it on
go,
Twitter. You were looking for
go to
donations.
litecoinlisa.net, and it's the events on there in events or what's new. I've got a blog post about it, and I've got it on the
So I can't figure out. Are you Litecoin Lisa or Lisa Mighty Davis? Or are you Litecoin Lisa Mighty Davis?
so I couldn't get Litecoin Lisa on Twitter, and we always called Mia Mighty Mia. And
Yeah.
then I came up with Team Mighty, and then so I could do Lisa Mighty Davis. And so I just am Lisa Mighty Davis on everything. And I'm Litecoin Lisa and Lisa Mighty Davis. And mostly I'm just Lisa.
Okay. So these are
But
the okay. So this is the events, but this is your classes. You're maybe not doing this quite yet,
no,
right?
go up to the top and you'll see
Okay.
events and what's new,
Oh,
or
sorry, I
there
messed
we
up.
go. That's it. And then
Are you
scroll down
doing
a
some
little
more
bit.
this summer or no?
Yeah, we will. We have something coming in June that we'll be back on
Oh,
the
here we go.
road in Illinois, uh, and we're doing a happy hour on Friday a happy hour roadshow live on Friday, the 21st.
Okay.
And like I said, Bix and Bitcoin Ben will be there. My mom will be there. Johnny Litecoin's coming in.
Oh, that's great.
And so it'll be me and Westwood and then all the gangs coming in. And we're excited to do that. And then the next day is the fundraiser for Mame, and we'll have an online auction. And so if you're in Oklahoma City or near Oklahoma City, come and join us. And if you just want to watch online, you can purchase this ticket, and I can send you a link to where you can view the live stream of the event, and you'll be able to access the auction as well. So those are kind of our options for that.
And so this is the tickets, right? And then
Yeah.
What's the NFT or something you can buy?
So Mame is an artist. Several of my pieces like these two, the Bitcoin pieces.
Let me bring that back so I can see a little bit.
Mame did these pieces. She's an artist and she does a lot of stuff. She also created a piece for Team Mighty. And then she's done I don't know if you can see that back.
Yeah.
She's also creating individual like unique NFTs for all the tickets. So if you purchase a ticket, then I'll have your email, or you can, in the link in the description of my videos lately, you can go right to the OmniLight. She has the address or whatever where you click on it and it goes to, and you can see the NFTs, and then you buy it NFT instead.
Didn't you post about it on Twitter recently?
Yeah.
All right, because I want to find this, because I said it. I want these live streams to be a bit of demonstration, right?
Oh, okay, cool.
We got a little bit of time. I want to go figure where this thing is. Figure out where this thing is. But I want to tell you about. I never know what to call her. Mame. Is that what you're calling
Mame.
Like
or
ending
Michelle.
Like
Mame.
ending of edamame. Mame crypto. So you talk about your first Litecoin summit. My first Litecoin summit was last October. I didn't go to 18, and then we didn't have one, right? There was no 19 or 20 or 21.
Yeah.
So I went and I brought my hats, my
yes,
whatever.
I need a hat.
Well,
I know.
So, in case people are new, you want to see I think they're pretty cool hats. I should probably
like them. Westwood wore one at on our happy hour the other day.
Yeah, Johnny Litecoin loves them. I mean, he seems to wear it even when
he wears them.
They're comfortable. I kind of feel corny wearing them sometimes, but it's my most comfortable hat.
Do it.
I went to the summit. I didn't know what to expect. I had no idea if it was going to be thousands of people, hundreds of people, tens. I didn't know what tables were going to be set up. And I was like, I have a buddy who lives out there. So I was like, I'll just get these hats made. And it might be just kind of fun. How many people will show up from spaces, and it'd be, something nice to have while I was there.
Yeah.
And so I had a maid to show up, and I didn't know what to do. I had like a bag with a bunch of hats in it. And I walked in and I was like, I don't know what I'm going to do with these things. I can't just like walk around handing them out, or, because I was trying to sell them. But they're not free. They're not cheap to make.
Yeah.
And I went to Mame Crypto, and I was like, she was running the Litecoin Foundation shop. And I was like, hey, could you like just store these back here, right? Because then maybe I can talk about them, and if somebody wanted one, I'll go grab it and retrieve it. I just need a safe place to store them. And she's like, you know what? She's like, I'll sell them for you. I don't care. Just put them on the table, whatever. How much you charging? And she, kept the docket of how many she sold, where she got cash, where she got Litecoin.
That's
and
awesome.
Just totally I didn't even expect her to do that. And she just like instinctively.
That's the kind of person she is, though.
Yeah, she was so sweet, and just like proactively trying to make sure that she was helping me out, and that I felt comfortable with whatever. I trusted her with the money and that type of stuff. And so I thought, I just was really impressed by that. And I think that you mentioned the Litecoin community. I think I didn't buy into Litecoin originally because of the community. It's just been this nice perk. And the more I've gotten involved in it, it's just been interesting to see how much people want to help each other out. And, I think that's part of what makes these communities unique. And I'm hopeful we kind of continue to stay this way. That's been
Yeah.
one of my goals is to kind of have an
Well, I
ethos or
think
something
the
as a
Litecoin crew gets that in crypto, it's different than any other like ecosystem. Um, in crypto, like in any other ecosystem, like I was in nonprofit work for a long time, you're all still fighting for the same dollar. So you might
right.
be all doing good work, but when it comes down to it, you're all fighting for the same donation dollars. In
Yep.
crypto, it's the opposite. It's the more people that come in, the more we all rise together. So you
Yep.
want to share your knowledge. You want more people to know about Litecoin. I mean, we give away Litecoin at our happy hour roadshows. We Westwood gets everybody, download a wallet. He has them write down their seed phrase, and he'll send them some Litecoin right there, and that kind of stuff. Having people actually use it, transact with it. We have a thing you can go to litecoinlisa.net and book a class with us. I mean, we're trying to really like have the engagement, but I do think that the Litecoin fam specifically gets that we're more together. And
Right.
the more people that we embrace and bring into this and educate and share, then that's only going to make us all do better in the future together. So,
Yeah, it's just, I mean, that I think we'll all continue to be baffled by why that isn't how most communities have chosen
yeah.
to go about things. But I think maybe in the short term, maybe there's a reason for that. I think that I will say like the I don't know the word I want to use, the tribalism that's really passionate and almost like prosecutorial towards other communities seem to be the ones that might be doing the best financially in the short term, but I think they're sacrificing the long term community building for those short term gains. And ultimately, like I showed with those metrics, right? Litecoin
Hmm.
continues to grow despite whatever's happening with its price. People are using the tool.
Right.
And what
It's
better?
also so un-Satoshi. I mean,
Yeah,
Satoshi
right.
is the ultimate freedom, and you would never put your thoughts or limits on another person's, or tell them what to do with their wealth or finances or whatever. Like,
Right.
I don't know, just
Or
bizarre
time
to
or
me.
energy or whatever, right? Like, and
Yeah.
that's, yeah, it's so like contradictory to the what we would call the ethos of crypto. But
Yeah.
that's our opinion of it. Oh, here you get sent the link. Good. Hang on.
Yeah.
See if
So
I can.
if you can jump on that Omni Light, the Lightverse, sorry, not Omni Light, that's a
Yeah, I'm gonna pull
gaming
it up
thing.
here. Hang on.
But on Lightverse,
Wait.
um,
Oh yeah. Here we go.
so she's got some NFTs there. So you can purchase the NFT and then just come to the event and you show us the NFT or show us the address. And she said she would have a list of addresses that purchased any NFTs. And that way the money goes straight to her, which I think is also a wonderful use case.
Ooh, I have an
um,
account. Hang on a second. Maybe I would be willing. I don't know if anybody wants to go and can't go. Anybody local that wants to go and would want a ticket? I can't
um,
go.
we can, we
But I'd have to
can,
buy the NFT.
so buy the NFT and I'll send you a link and then you can you can have a streaming, uh, you can watch it. I'll stream it and you can
Well, I
watch
could do
it
that,
on
but
the
I'm wondering
private
if
stream.
somebody wanted to go as a ticket. It might be. See, this is the demonstration stuff. It might be cool to buy an NFT and then let somebody use it and send it to somebody who wants to go. Like, let's make
Ask
these things
somebody
actually
on your
work.
channel.
I
Yeah.
know there's
If
not there.
somebody
We got
wants to
6
go
people. Would anybody want to go that can't? I mean, I think
that has
hard
a
part is like distance, right? You know,
get to Oklahoma City and
I've never bought an NFT before, so part of me wants to
yeah.
buy one just out of curiosity. Here,
Well, I'll
let me
tell you
give
what,
you.
we'll also invite them to be our guest for the happy hour for free
If they
if they
want.
come with your NFT. Yeah.
Are you finding like that's one of the reasons I want to start doing some audio interviews as well? Is I get a lot of people they don't want to get on camera, or they're like, I don't really have the equipment or the setup for it, which is
Oh, yeah.
understandable. And I think I'm gonna try to do some more just podcast interviews. But Not everybody wants to be on camera in this space, which is understandable. All right, I'm gonna try
Well, yeah, I think that goes with the whole cypherpunk thing and the privacy, depending
sure.
on who you talk to. But I'm already out there, so.
All right, Lightverse, I'm gonna critique you. You don't have a
Okay.
QR code here? Come on, what is the deal?
It's not very user friendly at this point.
I was gonna send a Litecoin in, but I'd have to type it all in. Yeah, I hate that. I'd have to visit it. Dang it! Hang on. There's got to be a way to do this. You know what they should have? I don't know why they don't have this. Do they have a way to automatically generate a QR code to? So, like, let's say on my phone right now, I wanted to go to this website. Is there a way to get a QR code that makes that happen? Does anybody know?
I know there are apps that do that, but it's not Litecoin specific.
I'm saying it'd be cool if there was a QR. Come on, make this thing be a thing. Forget it. Well, that's what I'll do. I'll put it out there. If anybody wants to go, I'll probably don't. I was gonna donate anyway and buy the stupid thing, but now I got to type in an address. So I'll here in a little bit. So
Copy and paste.
Get your act together. You got to have a QR code.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I got to use.
We do need better wallets. Like we need. I know in Cliff High is, the guru of everything to me, and in his data he talks about the granny wallet, and that until we get the granny wallet, that's really going to help crypto move forward, because it's people give up. People after like 3 seconds or so, I think they stop paying attention. If they can't click the thing and make it work right away, then people are like, meh, forget it. I'm
gonna send something to myself here.
Okay.
Don't everybody look at my mega chunky buns.
Your mega chunky buns, which is what I will always call you that. I think it's so cute.
So now I'm going to have the code Lightverse. Seriously, I'm mad at you guys now. I got to copy it. Let's use. I love using Litecoin in real time. It's like the greatest thing. So here we go. Got the QR or got the code. Copy. Going into my Cake wallet. I could use Light Wallet. I have noticed that Cake wallet doesn't. I like Cake wallet, but they don't. The addresses don't always work, or like sending out of Cake wallet. Sometimes I have issues. One of the two, going into or out of it. It's something with the address format.
Oh, they may be on the old format. Is that it?
Or maybe they're like at a new one, and sometimes it doesn't.
Then you have to
translate
go back
to somebody. Yeah. So like if you have LTC1 address, if a wallet is not updated, it won't recognize that as a valid address.
Right.
All right. Let's see. There can't be many fees, so I'm sending 1.01. Let's see this. All right. Hitting send. Let's see when this thing pops up and engage. Successfully sent. Now, I already did it. Let's see what happens. How long do you think this will take?
Oh, less than 2 minutes, right?
Well, I had one the other day. It took like 10 minutes because, sometimes blocks get long for whatever reason.
Oh, okay.
But anyway, so we'll set this up. We'll get this.
No, it's been pretty quick. At least my son, bless his heart, he is 12. And so, the kids get Litecoin for Christmas. That's kind of what we do. But he has been spending his Litecoin on these stupid games and stuff. And so the other day, my husband counted it all up for him. He's like, okay, over the last couple years, you've sent us like almost $2,000 in Litecoin on games. Yeah. I was like, that's insane.
Okay, so I got my, it already showed up. How about that? That was pretty quick.
Good. There we go.
So let's get back. I've never bought. So what? All right. So just buy it. I'm done. So there's a wallet here. Maybe this is easier than I thought. I was kind of.
The problem is, I think that there's not like a. You'll buy. Did you buy it?
Done.
Awesome. Thank you.
They sent me an email. Congratulations. You bought an NFT.
But
All
where
right.
is
See, here I
it?
was like making a big deal out of it. It's done. So, all right, let me look at my NFTs. Let's go. So I could then send this to somebody if they want to
That's
go.
awesome. Yes. And if you do that, let me know who it is, and we'll also include them coming and joining us at the happy hour. It's at the same place Friday and Saturday. My friend's restaurant. We've got the whole place rented out, and I'm buying all the food for everybody. I bought tons of food. I ordered tons of food. There's a bar that's on you if you show up, but the food's on me and all the fun and friends and all of that. So we'll have
All right.
Friday
So
night
yeah,
and Saturday
let's
during
say
the
maybe
day.
somebody's going and their spouse wants to join them, or
Yeah, that would be
a
great.
friend or something. I don't know. Bring a friend, and you can get a ticket. Just let me know. And if there's a lot of you, I don't know. We'll have to come up with some.
We'll figure something out. If there's a lot of you, let me know because I'd love to have you. Because I think the more people that are there that can bid on something, do an auction, on the auction, and make a donation for Mame, that's what we want to do. We want to get some support for her during this time, let her know the community cares about her and that we're thinking of her and with her. So,
Yeah, but yeah, I appreciate that you're doing that. I think one of the things that I've been pondering lately is that in this digital world, I think we consume so much information that it can feel really overwhelming to ever really make any effective change in the world, right?
mm,
We the problems seem too big to solve, and the reality is doing events locally and actually deciding, hey, here's a goal. I just want to achieve this one goal, that it can feel like very encouraging. Like, okay, I did that. Now what's next? Like I've been
right,
thinking about, um, this is just a random idea. I'm not nowhere near this, but like if we focused on like cleaning up your community type of stuff, where you
hmm
go, this person can't take care of their yard, or they've got a broken fence or something like that. Certainly as a community or a group of people, you could rally together to put together the small amount of money and the labor that is required to do that, that is no skin off your back.
right,
And particularly with work, money is so screwed up that if you wanted to donate $100 to a cause, you got to earn 200 first, and then
right,
what actually ends up going to the cause is generally 25%, something like that. Maybe not even. My wife was in nonprofits as well, and
hmm
there's a lot that goes into that. So instead of just here's a check, actually holding events and doing things in the physical space, I think is very effective. And
Yeah. Well, even the NFT thing, the Mame created those herself, and that's her address that it's going to. So that money's going, or funds are going directly to her. So that's another way that you can, if you want to donate, you buy an NFT and you're exchanging energy. She
yeah,
created something beautiful and you are valuing that, exchanging energy with her, and that is going to help her be able to pay her bills while she's in treatment. So
yeah, maybe I'll use my
it's a good thing
NFT
to do.
to get her. I should interview her. I'm
Yeah,
sure
that
she
would
has
be
an
great.
interesting story. Like I
That
said,
would
I
be
don't know a lot about her outside of just her meeting her that one time, and she was incredibly nice.
She's a
Uh,
wonderful person. Yeah, for
so I
sure.
see you meant I want to go back to Granny Note, a Granny wallet.
Oh, a granny wallet. Yeah.
Is it like the Cricket phone? Like the ones that have big buttons on it and everything.
I
Do
don't
you know?
know. I just know that he's talked about it's in his data. So he has this predictive linguistics program that he created where we leak out psychic information as humans without
Okay.
realizing it. And so he has these little bots that go out and scrape the web, and with that, he was able to predict like earthquakes and all
Who
this
is
different
this?
stuff. Cliff High.
Oh,
You
I
don't know
didn't
who
know.
Cliff High is?
I know these are people. I'm telling you, you're in a different part of the internet.
Okay.
What do you think? I
Um,
know everything you know. That wouldn't be a very interesting
yes.
conversation.
You have to know who Cliff High is. He's brilliant, brilliant man. He helps humanity like you would not
All right.
believe.
So
Like
Bix Weir,
Bixweir Rotaruta.
CLIF, right? That's if I
It's
remember.
one F. Yeah, CLIF. High, and he's Cliff_High on Twitter.
Okay.
He's back on Twitter. They let him get back on.
Oh, he got
Um,
banned, huh?
oh gosh, yeah,
All right.
yeah. I'm on my third YouTube channel. Um,
Are you really?
oh yeah,
What
I
What
try
was
to
the
dance around.
primary? Was it
The
COVID
first
stuff?
time, no, the first time Johnny and I were talking about how to file your taxes legally. This was years ago, in like
Okay.
2018 or maybe 2019. No, I don't know. It was years ago. And no strikes, no warnings, no nothing. Live feed, lose your channel and can never get it back.
Really?
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
crazy.
That was my original channel. And then I got another one, and within like a week or two, they kicked me off again. And so now I'm on my like third one.
Hey, do you use some of the other platforms? I'm thinking about that, like
Yeah.
Odyssey or Rumble, and those. I know there's those two in Substack. I think are like the three
I
bastions of
Odyssey and
freedom.
Rumble are super easy, just because you can link them or connect them with your YouTube, and they auto um, post
Post or something.
them
Okay.
and they'll do a backup even of your history on a channel. So even if you have a bunch of old content, you can link it, and Rumble will like go back and catch up all your old stuff and put it on there. But the other ones, like, oh, my friend Robert Beatles, who created Monarch, and they've got a great wallet and token. He's got a thing he created called pilled.net, and I'll stream on there too. And he's a part owner for Gab. Um, he's a really brilliant guy. He's got several patents and different companies. Um, good stuff that he's
So,
involved with too.
was Gab supposed to be like the Twitter alternative at one point or something?
I think so. It's You can't stream. The problem is with a lot of these is that you can't stream live to them, or they don't have a chat. And like my community, a lot of mine is that I have a really active live chat because Westwood and I went on the road, and one year we went every month to a different state, and we were doing meetups, and then it got to the great infection, and we slowed down with all that. But
Right.
we're getting back out on the road again. We're going to have the Oklahoma City meetup, partnered with Team Mighty, and then we'll be out again in June, hitting the
I'm gonna look
road.
up
So
your schedule here.
I don't think I have it up yet. I just have the Team
Oh, it's
Mighty thing up
2023.
right
Okay,
now.
I was thinking going back.
Yeah, because we haven't officially announced the June thing yet.
Yeah,
In
what's
fact,
such
he
a good
might get
time?
on to me for saying that.
I think you guys did
That's
Father's Day
la
weekend last year, right? Was
Yeah,
it Father's Day? I was like, man, I can't leave my family on Father's Day. So if you do a Midwest one, I know Carlos is a couple hours from me, and
yeah,
there's a
Carlos
decent
Estrada.
Ohio contingent, and
Okay, cool.
it seems like Ohio, somewhere between those two, Oklahoma and Ohio, we should try to convene. I don't know.
I think we can do something like that.
I've been thinking we should have some sort of like self-generated Litecoin get together. That's not the summit. I don't know why.
Especially not in Vegas.
Right, that's what I mean. I think that there's definitely a desire to just say let's go to, I don't know where it would be. I even hate to throw something out there because people just critique it, but
Yeah.
somewhere like Nashville is probably fairly
Oh,
reasonable
that might
for
be a
people
good
to
place. Yeah.
get together. Um, I know there's some people on the show, from down Louisiana. There's some Missourians, a lot of Texans, somewhere in there. Maybe it's Arkansas. I don't know.
My mom's in
Where everyone can
Arkansas.
drive. Where
Yeah,
everyone can drive.
Missouri's nice. Um, family friendly, and yeah, somewhere Midwest, a Midwest meetup is always a good plan.
When you do your meetups, I know you do kind of like a basics of how to use the assets and everything.
Mhm.
What do you find is the biggest hurdle? Wait, let me ask you a question first. What's your audience like generally? Meaning, like, what age are they? How tech
Um,
savvy are they? And then what's the biggest hurdle you have?
they're around our age, maybe some older people, because we do draw a lot of the silver gold bugs still,
Hmm.
because especially being hanging out with Bix and all that. Tech savvy wise, typically they're pretty on board, and we just make it really simple. We talk to them about, I mean, one of the comparisons that I use is a post office box, um, that like your public address is like your PO box, and anyone can send you mail or send you coins to your public address, but you wouldn't ever give anyone your private key that you get the mail out on the backside. And
Right.
so we kind of use, just try to make it really simple. And then we have them actually like trade. Like I said, Westwood will send them Litecoin. We've even talked about doing like a telephone game, make everybody send it to each other,
Right.
pass it around, just to have that muscle memory experience of, playing with the crypto. Because the more
Yeah.
you use it, the afraid you are of it.
Yeah. I like that analogy actually of a PO box. I think that's really good as far as certainly a wallet on your phone or something like that.
Yeah.
I always think gift cards are a good way to explain sometimes, hey, here's this wallet. You can load it up,
Yeah.
use it, and then if you get rid of that wallet once it's empty, there's nothing to worry about. It's just like throwing a card in your gift card. Once it's been spent, you throw it in the garbage. It has no connection to you anymore. All these things are disposable, right? As far as the
Yeah.
addresses,
Yeah.
and the wallets themselves. So like once it's empty, don't worry about it. Just start a new one if you want. Doesn't hurt, right?
It's true. Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, that's cool. So you technology wise, do most people already? I feel like I'm like a foreigner. Like I'm asking a dumb question. Do you think about my parents, or I think about do a lot of people are using PayPal and Venmo, I guess. So that's probably a decent
Yeah.
analogy for people.
Yeah. I think that definitely has helped, because people are used to sending money that way. Before that, it was a lot harder. When Westwood and I first got on the road, not as many people used PayPal and Venmo. And so it was a little foreign to people, and they were a little freaked out about it. And I know when my mom first introduced us to crypto, like she was very nervous about like writing down the address, and getting the right make sure you always check the letters and always send a small amount first, and you
Hmm.
know all the safety things, just because people had lost so much crypto in the early days.
Right.
And so now it is a little easier with copy paste and QR codes and easier wallets and things like that. But
Yeah, I don't know. Some of the self custody stuff. That's been something I've been more frustrated with. We've talked about. I hate to keep attacking maximalists, but they're the major part of the space, right? Bitcoiners. So much focus and energy
yeah.
on lightning, 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 as opposed to like simple self custody tools, right?
Mhm.
The energy put into talking about Lightning Network versus how do we actually make these things usable for people
Mhm.
on a daily basis. And some of this stuff's simple. I just this week, Cake Wallet sent me something, and I need to explore it more before we talk about it. But like an invoicing system, Master and I talked to them like a year ago, and I said it'd be so cool. Like if I run let's say I lay concrete or something for a living, and I quote a job. If somebody wanted to pay in crypto, the ability to send them an invoice, like here's my business, and it is like an
Right.
official form requesting a specific amount, can generate a QR code, so it's requesting a certain amount of crypto to pay a balance. Um, that would be useful because people in the trades like that are used to accepting cash, like that. They understand why you would use a private exchange, why you would want digital cash, peer to peer.
Mhm.
And certainly, as values of things are going up, and the cost of putting up a fence 10 years ago might have been $800. Now it's like $2,500.
$1,000.
People
Yeah.
want to carry that cash around. So like, what? That's a
Yeah.
good option for people who are used to working in cash and silver and gold, they to me are the people that are who should be targeted to actually adopt these things as tools, as opposed to like it's some high finance, like you're going to go buy a coffee and use it as your absolutely everyday spending. That's down the road. Step one is, just thinking about paying your bills with crypto, right? The ability, there are some tools coming on board. Because
Well, that Litecoin Visa card has made a lot of that really easy. I mean, that the rest of the world doesn't even realize what they're accepting or using,
Well, right, because I was talking to my wife and I'm like, I don't even know why we have a bank account anymore. I don't even know I don't get anything out of it. And so if you could get to the point where, yeah, you're paying all your bills via crypto, you can store your wealth there. Um, I'm not there yet. But
Yeah.
I just don't. The only reason you use a bank right now is it's convenient to do stuff like direct deposits and automatic withdrawals to pay to your bank, that type of stuff. If you didn't have if that convenience wasn't there, then I don't know why you would. I mean, what do I get? Half of a tenth of a percent or something like that return on my
I don't know
savings
that you get
account.
anything. They're probably, I'm sure they're taking it out the other side.
Yeah, but between fees and whatever else, so
Yeah.
I don't know. That's interesting. All right, well, yeah, I think that's cool. I would love to see you. I would love to see you guys come to the Midwest,
Yeah.
anywhere in Ohio. Jason here. I don't know if you guys. What's your name in Twitter, Jason? Something
Yeah.
like
We know Clash Daddy.
Clash Daddy.
It's
Yeah, he was
Clash
one of the
Daddy.
first guys to come into my Twitter Spaces. So
Oh,
I think
cool.
the first
Yeah.
week he was like one of the first guys. So yeah, he's in Indiana. So yeah, somewhere in the Midwest, right? But I'll
Yeah.
be there as long
That
as you
is
don't do
our
it on
plan.
Father's Day. Don't do it on Father's Day or the 4th of July
Okay.
or Labor Day.
I'll put a request in to
I mean,
Westwood.
anywhere within a 4 or 5 hour or whatever. I could probably make it 6, 8 hours, and I'll make it happen. So,
We have some plans, so I'll be sure to let you know as soon as we announce those publicly.
all right. Well, I appreciate you coming on, and I think, yeah, let me know a good time to come on your show.
I would
You're at
love
every
that.
day at
Yeah.
5. Is
Every
that
day
what you
at
do?
5. Every day at 5. Yep.
Okay.
So,
Uh, yeah. Let me know when I'm available. Maybe we wait a little bit since we just talked.
okay. Well, I'll send you a
I'm actually
couple
talking to.
dates.
I literally reached out to like 10 people yesterday. I'm like, I gotta start getting these
I
interviews
know
set up.
Westwood was busting my chops. He goes, you know what? I'm gonna tell him that I want the time. What time are you gonna be on? He goes, I'm gonna tell him that's the only time I can do it.
Waters just said next week.
I was like, I would move for you, Westwood.
I'm trying to get on I think maybe not this week, but maybe next. That Christy Lee from Infowars. You remember I
Oh,
was on there?
cool. Yes.
She started
Yeah.
her own show, and so I don't know what has gone on with Infowars. I haven't paid attention. I know has it kind of what's happened since the Alex Jones settlement?
I do
Have you
not
paid
know.
attention? Is it like
I
still
have not.
operating as it was?
I don't know. I haven't really kept up with them.
But I want, if I can get on there somewhat regularly, I want to try to connect you two because you guys, I think, have a
Okay.
very similar political outlook.
She wear hats like this.
Yeah, she probably does. She's from like a suburb that is I could have walked to from my parents' house in 5 minutes. She lives like
Oh,
she
cool.
grew up very, very close to me. I didn't know her personally, but I knew her only because she was a local newscaster. And so it's kind of coincidental that she kind of
And
went
now
this
she's in this world.
libertarian route, right? Libertarian-ish route.
Well, so another girl that you might want to talk to is Natalie Brunell. She has an amazing podcast. She's had Whitney Webb on like 3 times, I think. She just did an interview with this colonel that gave a bunch of military intel. Um,
Yeah, because she was a
she's
newscaster, right?
Yeah, she was in on the E channel. Um,
Oh,
the
really? Okay.
Yeah, yeah. Is it entertainment something? I
I
don't
didn't
know,
know. Yeah. I
but yeah,
remember
she's
Talk
great.
Soup and I don't know what else was on the E channel back in the
I don't
day.
remember.
Back in the 90s.
I don't
So
remember.
yeah, I mean I would love to. I know she does work with Abra, and that's somebody I'm gonna reach out to, that Bill Barheit from Abra. Um, who knows? I'm gonna throw a lot of darts at the dartboard and see who's willing to talk to me. But you know,
Well,
You're number
anybody I
one.
can help with, I appreciate it, and I appreciate you
Well, I'll
inviting
come
me.
on your show, and maybe
I would love that.
I told that Christy, I'm like, maybe we do a regular, maybe once a month or something like that.
That'd be
Same
great.
thing. I know you have Johnny on all the time. You need a little variety.
Yeah,
Keep
Johnny's every
Johnny.
Thursday, so I have like my days of who's on every day. So
You got Johnny and like Clint. They just
Johnny's
talk
every
about
Thursday.
vampires and creeps.
Westwood's on with me every Friday for
I know.
happy hour. Yeah.
It makes that. His word is vampires, and Johnny's is
Mhm.
creeps. These
Yes.
creeps at the bank.
Creeps. Johnny
He's
doesn't
right.
like
They're both
them.
right. They're
Yeah.
both right. Right. I think. Well, let me put it out there. It's almost been an hour. I've been on it for 2 almost. Does
Oh
anybody
wow.
have any questions for Litecoin Lisa? Just a lot of praise. Um, I don't know what Clint's talking about Texas for, but
What?
can you see the comments?
I think so. Yeah. I don't see
There's a lot of
Texas.
people chatting with each other. Is this what your chat looks like? Just people saying
Yes.
hello to each other?
Yeah. Well, they also put some intel in there sometimes, like they'll whatever we're talking about on the show, they'll be like adding if they have information about what we're talking about, or they do say they do talk to each other, but then they're also like sharing information. So it's pretty informative.
Are you like politically speaking? I know. I mean, how are you feeling about things? I mean,
Oh, Lord.
are
Which part?
well,
I just
one
think it's a
thing.
movie. I think they're trying to wake people up. They're trying to get people. We have to get back to a constitutional republic, which is what our country is. We've never been a democracy. You don't
Yeah,
want to live in a democracy because then your rights are trampled on, and or can be. And so we've got to get educated. We've done all the things that our founding fathers told us not to do, that would destroy the country. And we've got to take personal responsibility. And that's where cryptocurrency goes hand in hand with that, because it's about self custody, taking personal responsibility for your wealth. We've got to do that in all areas of our life if we want to make this country what it should be, and have the freedom. You have to take personal responsibility to find freedom. And without
mhm,
it, you're submitting to someone else having authority over you. You'll never be free.
right.
So,
Yeah, that was like I said in this kind of historic tour we did of the U.S., the early U.S. It was just interesting to kind of we were in Williamsburg. We had to do this court case. They have like you reenact a court case. It was
mm,
actually kind of cool. I I volunteered and I was a like a justice, and the guy who was the actor in it, he was like, "Look, you're just going to agree with me. Every one of you, you're not going to dissent at all. I'm just going to ruling, and you're all going to agree." And you realize, like, well, there's no reason why that wouldn't have happened, like,
mhm.
and like you said, with democracies, and when you get into governance, it's really uh, it centralizes naturally, just because people tend to not want to rock the boat too much, and they give up these freedoms slowly but surely. And it has been amazing to watch, to think back then, literally a tax on tea was like the straw that broke the camel's back, right? They
Mhm.
had been enacting these different taxes and these unfair systems, and people were like, not happening. They were willing to die for this tax.
Not
And
this
now it's
one
just
thing.
like you're just you
Look what's happening in France. I mean, the farmers have been speaking out for a long time about, them pushing back on, what kind of pesticide they can use and this and that, and hurting their business. And now there's been this tipping point, and I guess in all societies, there's this tipping point where the people say enough. And right now it's that they're lowering or raising the retirement,
yeah.
yeah, age. And the people are saying enough. And I
Right.
guess we all have to get to that point where we say enough. I thought it would be when they were jabbing and masking our children. I thought that would be the point, but it wasn't. It's going to be our pocketbook. It's
Yeah,
going to
that
be
was
our bank accounts.
one of the few things I think socially where I was like, because my wife and I, we don't have always perfectly aligned politics, and um, with the kids, I'd watched some stuff about the shots with the kids, and I was like, look, I'm gonna be pretty damn stern about this. Like,
Right.
this isn't enough, right? Okay,
Yeah.
this has gotten crazy. Like, we have to at some point be willing to and really have confidence in yourself that you are doing, whether people want to say, oh, people doing your own research, that's anti-science or pseudoscience. Like, you can go learn this stuff and um, come up with your own reasonable uh,
Hmm.
world that you want to live in. And so I
Right.
do think
You
that
are
was
the expert of yourself.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's a great way
Hmm.
of saying it. You're the expert of yourself because nobody knows your own situation or your health situation or your financial situation or whatever. And so
Yeah.
that's go be willing to do your own research. And I thought that was a big one, and I do think that some things people are going to hopefully say this has to stop. um, the taxation stuff is one, but it's that same thing. It feels so overwhelming. There's so many battles to fight that it can be kind of debilitating. It's like
Mm.
flight, fight, or freeze. And I think a lot of us
Yeah.
just freeze. We don't know what to do because it's too much. So these little things, having these little events, it doesn't
Yeah.
feel like, hey, did I change the world today? No, but you're gonna get somewhere, and the only way to
No,
get
but you can help your neighbor and you
there. Yep,
can opt out of the system as much
yep,
as you can, and you can buy crypto, opt out, put your energy, think about, shopping local, like make that choice every day. What's that next choice? And are you doing something to help your neighbor and opt out? Those are the choices, and that's how you do it, step at a
yeah. And the
time.
more people that use these things, that you start out as just a tinkerer or a hobbyist, and a certain percentage of those people are going to turn into evangelists. And
Right.
um, I think at some point, we're, we like to think of ourselves, we can get on camera and have some personality, but there's somebody out there that's extremely vibrant and entertaining that will latch on to crypto someday and take it to the moon. But we got to find
Yeah.
that person. You know what I mean? Take it to
I
massive people.
I always thought crypto was going to moon because of its use case and because it is crypto, what it is. And now I've come to believe that crypto is going to expose the corruption, and
Hmm.
people will flee the corruption and go to that lifeboat of crypto as a safe haven. I don't think it's going to be because, oh, crypto's so great and it's running up and people are running to it to learn it. It's going to be like, oh my gosh, this other system, they're going to wake up and find out how corrupt it is, and they're going to want out, you know.
Well, the truth is,
So,
you have to buy it before you can use it. So
yeah.
the first step is you got to buy it. So whatever pushes people into buying it, whether it's fear or hyperinflation or curiosity,
Mhm.
yeah, step one is making a transaction like you guys are doing, opening a wallet and sending it, and getting over that barrier with more people, the better. So
Absolutely.
I just bought an NFT, so that was the first. And now I got to admit, now that I did it, I went, damn, that was pretty easy. Maybe I should shop around a little bit. But
Thank you
I was
so
kind of
much.
I was ragging on NFTs this week. So,
That's funny.
but
That's
these have a use case. This is a perfect
they,
example of where an NFT. Uh, I don't I don't need to know her wallet. I don't need to know who she is. I don't need to know anything about her, and I can donate. And this completely invalidates the need for, like, what's the fundraising web?
oh yeah, they take a big chunk. Go Send Give is one, and there's
Oh my
I
gosh, what's
can't
the
think
major
of the
one?
other one. I don't know, but they kick Patriots off, so I don't use them.
Oh, they
But
did. Somebody else got to have that.
yeah.
Or like Kickstarter. Like, I've always thought of a lot of altcoins and ICOs and DAOs. A lot of times are just Kickstarter in a
Hmm.
decentralized format. It's
Yeah.
like if somebody wants to
Yeah.
give money for it, nice. All right.
Yeah.
Uh, oh, one more from Chief. The first step is to buy and have the price go down to build character. I think that's probably true.
You
If you
gotta
stick
have some
around after that,
scars
you're in for
and
life.
like,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah,
All right.
that's
Well,
right.
great. I appreciate you taking some time, and I'll be on. Reach out to me. Let me know. I'd be
I
happy to.
will. I will. I'll send you a few dates.
I think that'd be
I'd love to
fun.
have you on.
Do it on like a Tuesday, and then I can have ammo for the Wednesday show or something.
Okay.
Something to
Or
talk.
Wednesday. What time's your show on Wednesday?
9 Eastern, 9 p.m. Eastern.
In the morning? Okay.
No.
Yeah.
At night. At night.
Oh, at night. Perfect.
You
We
know I
could
do
do it
my
on a
spaces.
Wednesday. I know I come into the spaces. I thought you moved the Wednesday night thing though. Somebody told me you moved to Wednesday night to something.
Well, I moved it to 8 for a while, and
Okay.
then I actually ended up because I was like, I'd like to get to bed earlier, but then I didn't end up going to bed earlier.
But then it
All it did
doesn't
was take
end
more
any
family
sooner.
time
Yeah.
away, so I was like, I'll
Mhm.
just go at 9 again.
Yeah, that works. Yeah. Well, we can do, I know I can do a Wednesday, not this week, but next week.
Okay,
So
whatever.
I'll send
Oh,
you, I'll
by the
send
way,
you a message.
Clint said it's GoFundMe. I can't believe we
Oh
didn't
yeah.
realize that.
Yes,
I'm
that was
getting
it.
old. All right. Well, have a good week, everybody.
Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, for sure. I'm gonna end it. I'll see you later, and then I'll end the show. All right.
All right. Take care.
See you, Lisa.
Bye.
All right. That was good. Oh, her mic's still on. I better mute her mic. All right. Well, all right. Yeah, go. So check out Lisa's event. She is in Oklahoma City. Pretty sure I didn't even get the specifics. She's in dang Oklahoma. So go figure it out. Thanks for joining me again. I am interviewing Clint Westwood today, but I wasn't planning on live streaming it. I feel like that's maybe too much in one day. I don't know. Clint, do you want to do a live stream or do you want to just record it? We'll have to. I'm giving him a couple seconds to respond. But yeah, look for more stuff. I'm gonna start doing some more videos and some shorts. If you have content you want or you're curious about, uh, let me know. If you have something you want me to talk about, or whatever, then let me know. Paulie P says we should do a live stream, so maybe we will. We're planning on meeting in about an hour, so I'm gonna go eat some food and drink some water, and then I guess we'll come back and we'll put it on Twitter. We'll do it all. All right, guys. Thanks again. Have a good week. We'll see you Wednesday night. And if I have other stuff, I'll announce it and let you know. Everybody take it easy. And hold on. Wait for it. I'll do my little fade in and out, Litecoin Underground music.